welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're gonna be talking about the last week of school lessons for 3rd grade. I'm actually officially done teaching for the year all the way until August, but I am still gonna share the last week of school activities that we did, and 3rd grade is probably my favorite, so I'm excited. Let's get started. First of all, on Monday the kids come in and we are listening to the song Bound for South Australia. This one is really fun. I like the Gaelic Storm version of it. However, it does start really slow. It's like a whole minute of introduction before it really picks up. But what I do with this is I have the kids give me 8 different things that we can do, like movements for the song, and we make a pattern. So they'll say like, oh, we're gonna skip, and then we're gonna hop, and then we're gonna twirl, and then we're gonna clap. And I'm like, great. And we'll do each one for 8 beats. So we'll skip for 8 beats, and then we'll hop for 8 beats, and then we'll clap for 8 beats, and or whatever they pick. When we get to the end, then we start back at the beginning. And it's a really fun way to just get like really energetic. After that, I'll show them where Australia is on the map, because this song is about people who are bound for South Australia. So we'll look at where we live, look at where Australia is, and talk about like, that's really far away. How would we get there? And someone will usually say like, oh, a plane. I'm like, great, what's another way we could get there? And they're like, oh, a boat. Or they'll be like, oh, a car. And I'm like, what's all the way around Australia? And they're like, water. I'm like, so can we go in a car? And they're like, no. But I ended up some say that. But they'll say like, oh, you know, we can go in a boat. I'm like, yeah, so this song is what people would sing on a boat when they're rowing. They're going to South Australia. Bound means going. And then we go over the words really quickly and the rhythm, and we really pay attention to heave away, and we repeat that, haul away. We're bound for South Australia, and we practice that a couple of times. And then we get out the rhythm sticks and have them keep the beat with different parts of their body. So I'll just have them like match me, and we'll just keep it down here and then up here, and then we'll go side to side. And then when we get to those parts, we'll play heave away, haul away, bound for South Australia. And that way they kind of get into like figuring out at least that little piece of the song. So then after that, I'll show them a couple of rhythms up on the screen and just have them play, you know, the different rhythms. And then I'll show them the rhythms that end up going along with the song Duerme mi tesoro. So it's ti 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 ta ta, ti 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 ta, ti 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 ta ta, ti 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 ta. And then I'm like, great, can you play while I sing? And it goes, duerme mi tesoro, duerme mi bien, que los angelitos te miran también. We'll put our sticks up, and then we'll go over that a couple more times. We'll review the words. We have learned this song before, but just kind of as a review, and we'll talk about what it means and all that, which it means duerme, sleep. Duerme mi tesoro, sleep my treasure. Duerme mi bien, sleep my good. Que los angelitos te miran también, so that the angels can watch you as well. When we talk about this lullaby, you would sing it to your child. We also talk about how it's not Australian, because we talked about how in Australia they speak English and the song is in Spanish, so that means they're not from the same place, and we look on the map where that is. And then after that, we put it on our bodies, and so we'll do duerme mi tesoro, duerme mi bien, que los angelitos te miran también. Then I'll go over the first 2 lines and have the kids help me put the notes on the staff. So up on the screen, I'll have a staff, and I'll have the first dot for duerme. And then we'll go through each note of the song and have them tell me like, you know, are we going up? Are we going down? Is it so? Is it la? Is it me? Do I need 1 sound? Do I need 2 dots? Like all of those things. And while we're doing that, I have them walk me through it, so that they are remembering all the things we've learned about putting notes on the staff, and also so that we can address some of those common issues. So like I will always put 2 on top of each other, and then they'll be like, no, that's not right, because we gotta scoot it over, because we gotta know who comes first and stuff like that. After that, I'm like, great, now that you helped me put some notes on the staff, let's see if you can do that. We're gonna do a scavenger hunt, and around the room, it's actually a write the room activity, but I found they liked it more as a scavenger hunt. And so around the room, I took 5 of the spring write the room, which by the way, there should be summer ones coming out soon. Exciting. Spring write the room activities, and I did just the first 5. There's 10, but I just, you know, 5 was easier. And I put them around the room, and then the kids got a recording sheet where they could match the card to the number and then put the answer. So there's a couple different ways to do this. You can either have them copy it directly, or you can have them look at the notes on the staff and write out the letters, or you can have them look at the letters, so like S for so, M for me, and then put the notes on the staff. And that's what we did because I wanted them to have that practice. Because the first time I did this, we did not do the practice, and tomorrow, by the way, we're gonna do an assessment. So I found that they just needed a little bit extra help because it just, you know, it's so long between when I see them. So I found that doing the write the room on Monday and then on Tuesday doing the assessment made life like so much better. So they write the room, they think that's a great time, and then they come back and we are done. On Tuesday, they come in and we're going over Bound for South Australia again, and this time we're really focusing on keeping the beat different places, and I just have them follow me. And same thing, heave away, haul away, bound for South Australia. That's a half note, by the way. That's why I picked this song. And also because it helps me introduce one of my absolute favorite songs for elementary music, and that is Kookaburra. Now, Kookaburra is unfortunately copyrighted, so I cannot make a product on it, which makes me very sad, for another like 15 years, 20 years. I looked it up the other day because I was like, when can I do this? When will it be public domain? Not for a long time. But this one is really fun, and so I'm like, great. Since Australia is really far away, is it gonna be similar to us or different than us? And they're like, oh, different. I'm like, great. So they have different animals because they're far away. And one animal they have is the kookaburra. So I'm gonna teach you this song about the kookaburra, which is and I put the picture on the board so you can see what it looks like. And so we do the actions. We do Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree, merry, merry king of the bush is he, merry, merry king of the bush is he, love, Kookaburra, happy your life must be. And we go over this a couple of different times. I'll add the ukulele, which I'm not going to pick up right now. And then I'm like, great, now that you're all nice and warmed up, follow me for this one. And then I'll be like, oh, what song is that? And somebody will be like, oh, the Dueto Mamito Sono. And I'm like, yes, it is. So we'll go over the rhythm and we'll go over the melody again. Then up on the board, I put a couple of different patterns that just are like up on the staff. And I'll ask somebody to say it for me. And so I have just like two. So the first one is mi, so, la, la, so. And the second one is so, la, so, mi, mi. And then for the third one, I put a whole bunch of notes on top of each other because that was the most common problem I saw with our Write the Room activity, is that the kids would get, you know, the so's and the me's and la's, but it would be like this instead of like spread out. And so I put them all on top of each other and had the kids try to figure out what it said. And so some of them were like, oh, it's la la so so mimi. I'm like, okay, does anyone think something else? And they're like, oh, no, it's mimi so so la la. I'm like, okay. And they're like, no, it's miso la la. And I let them keep going. I'm like, you know, the thing is, none of you are wrong because we can't really read it correctly. And yes, I know there's chords, but we're not working on chords right now. And so the whole point being like, you cannot put the notes on top of each other. We have to know which one comes first. And I found that between doing the Write the Room activity and doing that, it really helps them to like separate that in their brain so that they did a much better job. After that, we're doing an assessment. And so this day we're doing the solfege assessment. This year I broke it into two and I liked it much better than doing the solfege and the rhythm on the same page. It also made life easier because then next year, if we're on like, you know, different ones than we're on this year, I can just use whatever we have. So that helps. And so on our assessment, it just has a couple things. These will be up on TBT soon, but they're not there yet. So on the assessment, I am using one. It has 6 questions. The first one has notes on the staff and they have to identify them. So they write, is it so, is it me, is it la? The third and fourth ones have the letters underneath. So like S for so, M for me, L for la. And they have to put the notes on the staff. And then on the bottom, they have to make up their own patterns and they have to put the letters and the notes on the staff so I know what they, and I tell them, because I need to know that you know what you talk about. And so they just have those 6 questions. If they finish early, then we're using the spring coloring sheets that are like color by note. and that's worked out really well. Most of them have finished pretty quickly, pretty early, and most of them did really, really well as well, which was excellent because I feel like we spent like 8 bajillion years on this. So there we are. On Wednesday, the kids come in and we're starting with the song En la Pulga de San Jose, which is one of my favorites. This song is super cute. It's about going to the market in San Jose and buying different instruments. And so it goes, En la Pulga de San Jose, yo compré una guitarra, tara, 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 la guitarra. Vaya usted, a la Pulga de San Jose. Vaya usted, a la Pulga de San Jose. So for this one, the first time I just told them, hey, we're gonna sing this song. It's about going to the market to buy different instruments. And I show them all the instruments we're gonna see and we go over the words for those first. And so we pretend to play them. So we do la guitarra, the guitar, el clarinete, the clarinet, el violín, the violin, el violón is the cello, and then el tambor. It actually says tum tum in the song, but I like to just tell them the actual word for drum. And so we pretend to walk while we listen to the song, and then we stop and we play the different instruments, and it's cumulative. So the first time it's la guitarra, and then the second time it's clarinete, nete, nete, tara, 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 la guitarra, vaya usted. And if they are reliable, I let them walk around the room. And so what I did was we did it one time sitting in our spots. We sat down, we went over the words, and then we did it a second time where they got to move around the room, and a lot of them were singing it. I also had a win. I do not have very many students who are from out of the country, and I do not have very many Hispanic students, but I have a couple, and I had one in particular in 3rd grade who knew this song and was like singing it before I even taught it to him, and he was so excited. It was so cute. He was just so excited to like know the song that we were singing, and it was really, really fun. After that, we sat down and we go over Duerme mi tesoro yet again, and this time we're reviewing the rhythm. And so we just go over the rhythm. We talk about like what's a quarter note, what's an eighth note, what's a half note, because then we're taking our rhythm assessment. The rhythm assessments are available on TPT now, so I will link that down below. There's a whole bunch of different ones. There's like dictation, there's composition, there's where they're like circling different things, there's like word sorts, there's like everything you could possibly ever need basically. And what we're using is the like 1 page. On this, there's 2 dictations where I say a rhythm, they have to write it down, and then they have to circle the rhythm. So it's like circle the quarter note, circle the half note, circle the rest, I think is the 3. I'm not sure off the top of my head now. And then they circle the rhythms that match the words, and then they make up their own rhythm at the end that's supposed to add up to 4 beats. And so it's just real quick, 10 questions, and we usually did not have time to color after this one. I think I had 1 or 2 classes that did. And so if they did, then we colored, and if not, then we just immediately lined up to go for that day. Now, if I have a Thursday lesson, then we did the En la Pulga de San Jose for a second time. We looked at all of the different instruments that were in there, and then we colored because it's the end of the year and frankly I'm tired and they like to color. So it was, you know, win-win. On Friday, we are having our end of the year luau. So we're going to many different tropical locations. The first one being Hawaii for the song Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride. Now, I had grand intentions that I was like gonna come up with this whole move along activity, and like it was all planned out. It's planned out that I wanted to do it. I ran out of time and never actually came up with a move along activity. So instead, we used a body percussion video that I found on YouTube. I will link it down below. It goes with Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride, and it just shows the pictures of like hands and they clap, feet and they stomp and stuff like that. I will say it's not my favorite video because it doesn't quite match the beat, but it had you repeat them. So we just took like the theme and went to the beach because my kids are pretty good. After that, we watched the little piece of Lilo and Stitch where they play this song because I realized one of the kids was like, I think this came out in like 2012. No, friends. Lilo and Stitch came out in 2002. That made me feel so old, but I love Lilo and Stitch. So we watched the little clip so that they had a little more context. After that, I'm like, great. Now, Lilo and Stitch are in Hawaii. That's why we had the Hawaiian roller coaster ride. We're actually going to go to a different island. And so we're going to Trinidad, because in Trinidad, that is where they invented limbo. So, fun fact for you, first of all. So we're playing limbo. This is one I like to pull out at the end of the year. And it is so simple, but it is so much fun. The kids have been like, I ended up having like kids a couple extra days, and all of them were like, can we play limbo? Can we play limbo? Can we play limbo? And I was like, no, there's 3 of you. We can't play limbo because 2 of you hold the stick. There's only 1 of you to go under. That doesn't make any sense. But for limbo, what I do is I just have it myself and one of the children, usually one of the taller children, hold a boom whacker. And then the other kids I have line up in a circle around the carpets, and they go around the carpet under the boom whacker, and then we go down every time we get back to the first person. And we put in like some ukulele music in the back, and it is a great time. It's really fun, really simple. It can get a little chaotic, so be warned. We usually only do 1 round because that's all my kids can take, and then we're done. After that, we go to yet another island, and this one is Australia, to go back to our Kookaburra song. And so with our Kookaburra song, we go through the song a couple times, and then we are playing Kookaburra 4 Corners. This is not an authentic game, but it is one of my favorites. And basically, I take 4 animals from Australia, and each corner gets an animal. So we have the koala corner, the kangaroo corner, the sea turtle corner, and the Kookaburra corner. And oh, I forgot to mention, when we learned the song the first time, I like to show them a video of the Kookaburra's laugh, because it is so funny. So funny. So funny. Anyway, so each of the animals goes in a corner. We'll play and sing the song. So like I'll play the ukulele and sing the song, and while we do that, the kids have to go to one of the corners. And then I use Wheel of Names, which is this like online spinner. It's just free. It's called wheelofnames.com, and you can add this is just like what they automatically populated, but you can add anything over here to the side, and then you can spin it and it'll land on somebody and then have like a winner. So I've actually used this for giveaways before, where I like put in all the people's names and then spun it, and whoever it landed on was the person who won the giveaway. I have used it in games when we were distance learning, like to see who would get out. And then we used it for this, and I put in koala, kangaroo, kookaburra, sea turtle, and then whichever one it would land on, those kids are out. So it's 4 corners, but it's a little bit different because it's got the song, it's got the animals, and then also I like the spinner because it makes it more random. It's not a kid choosing who's gonna be out, and so that was extra fun. They loved this game, and so sometimes we got through 1 round, sometimes we got through 2 rounds, just depending on how quickly we got out and all of that stuff. And if we had time, like half of the classes had time, half of them did not, then we're also doing Let Us Chase the Squirrel, which was like one of our all-time favorite games this year. So Let Us Chase the Squirrel we played last time, and it goes, let us chase the squirrel up the hickory, down the hickory. Let us chase the squirrel down the hickory tree. And I use this one to introduce half notes. It's so much fun. What you do is usually the kids hold hands to make a tree, but we used hula hoops, which I liked much better because it just gave you more space. So I have 2 kids holding a hula hoop, and they're the trees. And we'll have like a couple sets of trees, and then we'll have other kids being the squirrels, and they're underneath the trees, like inside the hula hoop. And then at the end of the song, they have to go and find a new hula hoop, and somebody's always left out. We don't actually do outs because it got too complicated with like how many trees and how many squirrels we had. We just had, you know, you were in the middle, and then we play again, and then they go to a different one. And then I'll have them switch. So I'll have the squirrel switch with somebody who's a tree, and like right there, and we'll do that. And so this is another game that gets really rowdy, and so we usually only play for about 5 minutes, but it's really, really fun, and the kids love it. So this was one of our hits for this year that they loved. I would say probably our top games for 3rd grade were Let Us Chase the Squirrel, We Are Dancing, and Juguemos en el Bosque. Those were definitely our top 3, and then Limbo. They loved Limbo too. So we had like basically just like a little party on the last day of school. We had so much fun. I really enjoyed 3rd grade in particular this year. I actually really enjoyed all my classes, but 3rd grade had like a special place in my heart. and it was just really great. So it was really fun to end the year with a bang. I hope this was helpful if you still have kiddos, and I hope that if you do still have kiddos that you will not have kiddos very, very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time in the last one of the whole year.